Hello, Dave Makes Noises here. I hope you're having a splendid day. I just wanted to let your cutie little butt know that we have an official Mr. Ripper subreddit now. So please go check out r/Mr. Ripper, have a look-see, and if you've got a story you want to share with us, that's where we're likeliest to see it. So do with that information what you will. Now, pray tell, what are some trap ideas you have for Dungeons & Dragons? Part 1. Here's a great one. Best I've ever played. The DM gave us plenty of hints that we were exploring a place out of time. The manor's stone shingles were ancient. Its windows were intact. After thousands of years, the astrolabe clock in one room was still working, but depicted planetary positions from the distant past. The dead remains of a previous explorer have not decayed, though he wears clothes of an empire 200 years gone. His journal details a wound at this site that nature yearns to heal. Eventually, it became clear that the MacGuffin was maintaining a magical time bubble around this place. The manor house and gardens from 1,000 years ago had essentially been anchored in time, untouched as time progressed around it. When we claimed the MacGuffin, the bubble popped, setting off a race to escape before the whole place disappeared. The DM told us pointedly, when you look at something, it's in perfect condition. When you look back, you find it aged by 1,000 years or simply gone, but you never actually see the changes happen. Our wizard flew up for a better view, and the DM explained, the forest seems closer each time to look. The time bubble appears to be shrinking quickly. Everywhere you turn, you see lawns replaced by towering 1,000-year-old redwoods. You don't see them grow, but every new spot you glance at reveals further encroachments. Look here, lawn. There, lawn. Look back here, redwoods. Look back there, redwoods. As the tempo and urgency increased, the DM told us, a tide of time is relentlessly approaching, and none of you can survive the sudden passage of 1,000 years. If you fail to realize a solution, you will die. Can we teleport out from the manor? No, that would cross the time wave. Can we hide underground? The time wave would still cross you as the bubble pops. Can we escape back to the past? How? Can we become suddenly ageless? How? Our ideas became increasingly desperate. Gentle repose ourselves? Undead ourselves? Use arcane script to leave a note begging for someone to resurrect us? Time's up. The room began to crumble around us, and we were out of ideas. My character tearfully began to tell her companions that it had been an honor serving with them, and went on and on about each of their accomplishments and why she respected them all until... and we found ourselves very much alive, undamaged, standing amid a redwood forest and some ancient ruins. Clever gamers have probably already spotted the escape. The collapsing time bubble has a loophole that the DM reiterated over and over. Nothing disappears while you're looking at it, as if your mortal attention is sufficient to anchor a thing's reality. I'm sorry to say that we survived only by accident. The DM ruled that because of our tearful and long-winded goodbyes, we'd all been looking at each other when the time wave passed over, and so we had anchored each other's reality and survived. Whew, I got goosebumps. Holy shit, I want to play at that table. Oh my god. Wow. Whew. A glorious corridor of traps that are specifically designed to punish you if you are paranoid. To begin with, the entrance to the famed Illusionists Tower begins with a staircase leading down half a flight or so. 15 feet from the base of the stairs, the floor forms a single panel. The rogue checks it out. It looks like a switch, but it seems to be very immovable. Even putting his full weight on it, it won't budge. The mage casts Detect Magic. Nothing magical about the slab on the floor at all, but there is a field of magic around the entire section of corridor. It detects as divination. Some kind of detection array? Sure, let's dispel it, just in case. Oh crap, the detection array was actually a school-altered mud to rock. The rock that was keeping the 1-ton slab in the ceiling has now been changed back into mud. The slab slams into the ground and onto the switch, which triggers a chute that fills the entryway of the corridor 6 inches deep with lantern oil, and removes the safety from the pit trap directly on the other side of the switch. And on the traps went. An anti-magic zone surrounding a rune on the wall. Not explosive runes, just a light spell that has been meta-magically heightened to the point that it blinds people who look at it with magic sight. A shadow illusion of real floor set over an L-shaped pit trap with a gravity alteration spell cast on the bottom. If you believe the floor is real, it is real. A keyhole on a fake door in the corridor which sets off a poisoned dart launcher. And at the end of this almost circular corridor, the garbage disposal featuring an Otyug nesting quite happily. A level 1 commoner could have skipped through the whole corridor with no ill effects up until this point. Oh, the real entrance to the tower? Walk a third of the way around the tower from the front door and climb the invisible ladder into the real entry foyer. I don't know how clever it was exactly. I know it irritated the heck out of the players. An illusionary floor covered a 6-inch deep pit. No big deal, right? Except that the bottom of the pit was covered in sovereign glue. Elsewhere in the same dungeon, a stone with light, not even continual light, cast on it, buried in a garbage pit, but not so deep that its magical aura couldn't be detected, complete with Otyug, of course. Elsewhere in the same dungeon, a locked grate with, I forget the name of the spell now, but it was essentially an illusionary trap. Drove the thief nuts trying to figure out how to disarm it. When he finally admitted defeat and pushed the grate open while doing a full-body cringe, the real trap was revealed. Rusty hinges that alerted every monster within 100 yards. Oh, that's good. Then there was the illusionary pit that was right in front of the illusionary floor. The pit under that floor was 30 or 40 feet deep, as I recall. The best part was the one person who disbelieved the illusionary pit, smirking as he walked right by his companions, who are busy climbing down ropes and walking across the bottom of the pit, only to vanish through the solid floor when he got past his companions who were already gawking at him, walking on air. Given all this, and a few other illusions besides, I was more than a little surprised that nobody tried to disbelieve the fireball that came whooshing out of the darkness when they finally penetrated to the inner sanctum. The bag on a stick. Believe it or not, if the adventurers wake to a bag placed over a stick mysteriously waiting at the edge of camp, or in the road, in an alcove, crack in the floor, what have you, they will, more often than not, delay and fret and bicker over what to do, worried that the simple bag conceals a trap. It may or may not. The trick is to build tension. The players' minds do all the work for you. If you should have one or more players who will just grab the bag and lift it, or pry it with a sword or a mage hand, that's okay. Place a sound maker under it that attracts monsters. Crossbow trap, flare arrow, released messenger pigeon. How about a concealed wire attached to an angry owlbear sleeping just inside the tree line? Sharp wire attached to a tree snare that sends them up 20 feet or severs a hand/fingers. Springing vipers they've just agitated. Pheromone, fog, poison, mist sprayer. Firebomb flask. It might also be something useful, like a treasure map that burns if a PC hits it with a torch or fire spell. Or a pouch of silver, a healing potion, or scroll from an anonymous benefactor. Now destroying what's beneath the bag can hurt, or you can get weirder. What if the stick is a flower stalk that sprays hallucinogenic pollen? Anyone who fails a poison save will go on a wild ride. But you can also use symbolism to convey a message, initiatory or otherwise. A drugged PC may be able to see things no one else can see. Symbols, ley lines, incorporeal doors. They may even gain a new familiar or totem, or maybe find a ghost with a secret. The stick might also balance a shiny silver orb that interacts via reflections. Or how about the severed head or arm of a hideous demon? Or better, a friendly NPC. Does blinding light shoot from its eyes? Does it cough rusting gas? Is the head or limb babbling, or signing or writing a new spell the wizard can copy? What about a riddle or code for the rogue to crack? What if the head/arm is still alive and begs to be restored or buried, or it bears an important message? Does it also have venomous frogs nesting in its damp hair? Can the villain see through the eyes, or the garnet circlet on its forehead? You get the idea. They won't know what to expect from the next one. The best part about the bag on a stick is that it can be used multiple times, even during the same adventure. In fact, used a few times, it changes what the PCs think is under there, and the tension only gets higher. If you have to switch what's beneath the bag to make it work better, by all means do so. A2A. I'm actually not a big fan of traps. There's nothing wrong with them per se. Rather, it's the fact that their presence encourages a slow, paranoid style of play that I've never found enjoyable. I resonate with that. That said, I've encountered a few that break the mold enough that I like them anyway. In no particular order, here they are. The Impossible Riddle. Shamelessly stolen from the webcomic Dr. McNinja, which you should definitely read. The player characters come upon a massive statue above the entrance to a dungeon, its eyes set with glowing jewels. Next to the statue is a riddle, your choice what it says, and before it dozens of corpses. Surrounded by scorch marks, the implication is obvious. Fail to solve the riddle, the statue shoots lasers from its eyes. Here's the twist. The riddle has no solution. The laser trap is activated by sound. As soon as an interloper steps forth and yells out their guess, they get vaporized. The dungeon's inhabitants know this and pass safely in silence. The collapsing shack. From the 3.5 module Red Hand of Doom. This isn't exactly a trap, more a terrain hazard. A really old and decrepit wooden shack stands before the party. The PCs can make an intelligence check before entering to notice that it's really unstable. If they go poking around in it anyways, there's a chance every round that it collapses, dealing damage to all inside. Dex save for partial or no damage. Worse, it's near an occupied enemy stronghold, and the shack collapsing is as good as an alarm bell. Bear traps. Nothing says I'm a psycho recluse like bear traps. 3.5's expedition to Castle Ravenloft featured an insane hunter who had made peace with animals and now liked to hunt, stuff, and eat people. The exterior of his hideaway was guarded by a pack of wolves, presenting a straightforward combat encounter. However, he had laid bear traps around the area, adding a terrain hazard. The wolves knew the locations of the traps and avoided them. If you were running this with more intelligent enemies, they might attempt to actually goad the PCs into the traps. The fortuitous fall. My last one comes from the Venerable Tomb of Horrors. I ran this a few years ago, and I have to say, it is a truly awful dungeon. Spiteful and obtuse, with an absurdly high body count. It also featured a false ending halfway through that makes it likely that your players will never see most of the dungeon's content. However, it was delightfully well written, with a riddle at the beginning that served as a roadmap for the entire dungeon. If you're yearning for a complete change of pace, I can cautiously recommend it as a one-shot diversion. While everyone talks about the statue, spoilers, the one that made me laugh every time was the triple pit trap. The PCs come upon a door. Upon opening it, they see an empty room, 5 by 10 feet, with another door at the end. As soon as they step in, they fall into a concealed pit trap. The pit is only 10 feet deep, dealing 1d6 damage, a minor annoyance. They dust themselves off, try the door at the end to reveal an identical room. Step in, fall into a second pit trap, 1d6 more damage, climb out, open the door, there's a third identical room. Sure enough, there's another 10-foot pit trap. Easily avoided now that the players know it's there. Once they're past it, there are no more pit traps ahead, because the path dead ends in a death trap. The real way forward was hidden behind a secret door at the bottom of the third pit trap, which they were almost guaranteed to bypass. Hilarious. Though it might be less so when your players throw a player's handbook at you. Hello, my spicy little love peppers of interconnected unified consciousness. Thank you for watching to the bloody end. I think it was worth the wait. I hope you agree. If you are new around here, feel free to share your favorite traps in the comments. And if you aren't new, then you already knew the scoop, and that's pretty sexy to be honest, so good job. Stream announcements soon. I know I've been saying this for a hot minute, but like I said before, it's like fucking herding cats, although people's availabilities are starting to finally open up again, and we'll be able to get a nice little game going for our sweet little cherubs in no time. If you like coffee, please check out our fellow nerdos at Adventurers Coffee Company and use our discount code Mr. Ripper for 10% off an aromatic as fuck bag of delicious potent coffee beans, befitting of any brave adventurer's morning ritual. Come say what's up in Discord if you want to see what a trash fire looks like, or say hello to the sexy ass voice reading you these stories, and don't forget to share your stories on our subreddit, r/Mr. Ripper. By the way, if you love me and want me to be happy, please check out my website, www.davemakesnoises.com, and listen to some of the music that I've made over the years. Always be pooping in it. I fucking love you, baby. Stay safe out there and take that meat suit for a motherfucking joyride while you're in it. Please sub for Nat 20s. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.